Heath, DJ Moore, Kyle Pitts, Rondale Moore. How many of them are you starting with confidence next week? DJ's at Cincinnati. Pitts has the Chargers. Rondale Moore, Seattle.
I think with this volume, I'm starting DJ Moore regardless until multiple bad games happen again. Like I was ready to come here and say his 5 for 90 was a very disappointing game because PJ Walker missed him on 2 wide open deep shots and he dropped a 20-yard pass, which I don't know if it was a drop or not. It might have been tipped, but he could have had a monster day before that big play at the end of the game. He just looks like a must-start wide receiver again, and I'd just like to say thank you, PJ Walker, and thank you, DJ Moore, because I had some games, and I have a couple still. I mean, you talk about the big points that were scored. There were some battles out there, like 155 to 154. I know that you and I, Adam, in the Superflex League went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Are you going to win?
Oh, yeah, that's been decided.
Oh, damn
it. It wasn't so much back and forth in the FFT League. It was just fourth.
For you beat me in that league too?
Well, not yet. You have 3 guys left. I'm up by 105.
What the hell?
I love ruining your night. Kyle Pitts, very encouraged to see him get 9 targets, to see like him be clearly ahead of Drake London. And I just wonder, like we go back and forth and it stinks, but tight end stinks. And maybe we were a little too quick to just say you can't start Kyle Pitts because we're pushing all these guys up as streaming options that we're hoping they have a day like Kyle Pitts has now had a couple of. So somewhat encouraged by him. I won't start him with confidence, but he'll probably be in my top 12. And I think, Dave, you can look up the snaps. It looked to me from what I saw of the Arizona game, like they played more. I mean, they played more AJ Green because he didn't even play last week. And they played Rondale Moore more in the slot where he belongs and less outside.
Yeah, let's see that.
And he performed very well. Now, that may just be that the only time they threw it to him was when he was in the slot. I'm not sure.
He played in the slot 59.4% of his snaps.
Excellent.
That's great.
So definitely used him in the right direction. And Hopkins was outside a lot more than in the slot. 15.7% in the slot for Hopkins. So Moore played a ton in the slot. Dortch, for whatever it's worth, on his few snaps, he was in the slot almost exclusively. So that's a plus for Moore. But Moore's catch and run touchdown, there were broken tackles on that play. I mean, it was more like missed tackles.
That's kind of what he's supposed to be, right? That's what he's supposed to generate.
Breaking tackles is what he's supposed to be. Bad defense helped him. It felt like the score was a little bit of an accident. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Rondale Moore just bounces right back into our hearts as a surefire number 3 fantasy wide receiver.
I think I had him 32 this week. I think he needs to live somewhere in that 28 to 36 range most weeks, depending on how many guys we have on a bye.
Okay. Well, that's a number 3 receiver. I'm not going to fight you on that.
I'm getting really frustrated with fantasy football now that I'm checking my scores. Thanks, Heath. I mean, come on. I played against Deontay Foreman, Travis Etienne, and A.J. Brown in a league. Are you freaking kidding me?
Oh,
that's not fair. That's not fair.
I think in the Superflex
I don't know why my
League,
violin sounds like a horn, but there it is.
You had Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins in the Superflex League.
Yeah. I knew I had Mark Andrews, Chris Godwin, Russell Wilson, and yeah, like you got to read the rest of my team in that stupid league. That's pathetic. Dave, your winners are Deontay Foreman and Justin Fields, who we already talked about, and Greg Dulcich. Dulcich 51% rostered going into a bye. Would you rather have Dulcich or Pitts rest of the season? Dulcich had 87 yards and an almost touchdown.
I am tempted to say Dulcich over Pitts because I'm not sure how many more games Kyle Pitts is going to have with 9 targets. Although I'm excited with Pitts evolving into more than just a touchdown or bust tight end, which is what I was calling him this week. But I liked Dulcich as somebody who is going to be a bigger part of this Denver offense. And their offense was tragic in the first half. And when they got Dulcich going in the third quarter, everything started to open up a little bit more for the Denver Broncos. So I think he's going to be a big part of what they do moving forward. We know that Albert O, forget about it. He's OUT out of the picture in Denver. Dulcich is going to be a full-time tight end. And I would expect him to live in that better than 10 PPR point range. And it's a tight end who can get you yardage and touchdowns potentially every week. He's not going to be a guy that's going to leave you with 2 catches and 12 yards anymore. I think they like him. They drafted him for a reason. I like his matchup against Tennessee when he comes back from the bye, along with Las Vegas, and then Carolina after that. 3 great games in a row following the bye he's worth hanging on to.
All right, Greg Dulcich. So we have a pretty good waiver wire setting up here. You know, 3 of the players we talked about just now, Rondale Moore, Justin Fields, and Greg Dulcich, are all rostered in about 50% of leagues. Rondale Moore is 56%.